racing immediately. But a champion becomes a legend. McCabe Diva wins it again.
Yes, yes, yes. Wins the Everest. Glen Boss wins another big one.
Who's the Boss? Season 4, Episode 3. We've got a beauty on the way. Adam Peacock alongside three-time Melbourne Cup winner Glen Boss. Bossy, how are you, mate?
Mate, I'm great. Bit sad after last night.
Big deep breath there.
Yes, I'm well myself, but it wasn't a pretty watch last night.
We're talking about Origin, everyone.
Yes.
We've got a rugby league theme about this show. Our guest,
Yes.
who we'll tell you about in a moment, won't give it away, but the colours might. I did promise Bossy a New South Wales jersey to win on the show today, but wear on the show today, but I forgot to bring it in because I was too excited after what happened at Suncorp last night.
Yeah, well, thank God you did forget to bring it in, but I would have worn it. But yeah, there was a sea of blue there last night. We never looked like breaking the line really at any point, especially in the second half, and you just sort of sensed that New South Wales had control of that game. After 20 minutes into it, we looked like we was going to be a good tussle there for the first 20 minutes, but they just took over and they were just too brilliant.
I'd like to say I feel sorry for you, but I'd be lying.
Well, it is a series. It's the best out of the three. Don't you forget that.
Right, you are, Glenn.
So Queensland do find a way.
Yeah.
So it's not over yet, big fella.
Now, we will talk a bit of league with our guest shortly, but do want to bring up what you accomplished last weekend.
Yep.
You teased it on last week's show. You ran a half marathon with zero prep, basically.
Yeah.
How'd you go?
Yeah. Just over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Got it done?
Got it done. Didn't stop. Yeah. So I didn't expect it to be that easy, to be honest. I decided Tuesday before the Saturday to do it and did a couple of 8K runs just that week, just to see how the legs would feel and how I'd pull up. And just amazing. I'm going to sign up for the Gold Coast half marathon in a month. So I've discovered my love for running again. I used to do it as a lot as a kid, but never done a marathon in my life. So I got my PB first.
Mate, as I said to you, you posted it on social media. It was outstanding. A lot of love from everyone out there as well on your personal Instagram handle. But first up over 21,000 metres, it's not an easy task, but you did it with a leg in the air. So off again.
Yeah, off again. But I mean, it gives you something to aspire to do, like get out there and start running again. And I mean, living on the Gold Coast, it's just people are running everyone's out there doing stuff. So I thought, well, why can't I? 55 years old. Bossy's mad, I tell you. He is a bit mad. This
mate. The Gold Coast, if they're not running, they're running from something. So, mate, well done.
No,
outstanding
it was good fun.
achievement.
A lot of fun.
Outstanding achievement. And I'm guessing here, I'm going to tie this into our great friends at AirTouch, airtouch.net.au to control your air conditioning even when you're not in the home. Did you put the AirTouch on the way from home just to make sure that when you walk back in the house a bit weary that things were at the right temperature?
Yeah, well, we're starting to cool down. Oh, not that Queensland gets that cold, but it's starting to get, when it gets below 20, I start to feel it, right? Because I'm a real Queenslander. But, I always have it on 24. Walk in the house, it's always perfect. If it's cold outside, it's 24 inside. It's hot out. If it's hot outside, it's 24 inside, so it's perfect for me.
Perfect. airtouch.net.au. Check it out, and we thank the crew from AirTouch for your support of Who's the Boss. Now, before we get our special guest in, Bossy, the big chat in racing, obviously, this week, especially in New South Wales, is the fact that the ATC put it to a members' vote about the sale of Rosehill, offered a big pot of money. We don't know exactly how much, but it was talked upwards of $5 billion from the New South Wales government to say, we'll have the land, we'll build 25,000 homes. It was up to the ATC members. They voted no, 56% to 44%. 44% of people reckon it's a massive missed opportunity for racing. 56 say, well, play on. We've still got Rosehill.
Yep.
I mean, it's hard to know exactly where to sit because there's a lot of information, disinformation. But have you worked out an angle yet about how you feel about it?
That's the whole thing, Adam. I think misinformation has been the guts of this thing. I think it was just badly presented. They just sort of threw a number out there, $5 billion, and I thought that would turn everyone's heads. And they say, oh, this is a great idea. But there was no kind of infrastructure with that message. They got a 100-page or 111-page document only a month or so before. So there was just so much information that was not given to the participants. I think they should have been consulted better. I think what they should have done is got all their ducks in a row first.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a lot of red tape getting this information out through this book, but it was too little too late.
It was weird. Like I remember when we were on the Hunter Valley, and I said to you and Jim Cassidy were standing there, and off air I said, "Oh, looks like they've now said that they want to buy Penrith Golf Club, and put a track there."
Yeah.
It was 2 weeks before the vote.
Yeah,
it was like, guys, why are you leaving this so late? So people are always going to be a bit fearful of change when they don't know what change leads to.
That's right.
And that feels exactly what has happened here.
No, and this is, you're not dealing with little people here. You're dealing with some very powerful people in the industry. You know, some of the most powerful trainers, and they've got a big voice. So I just think there was not enough done at the start. I think if something so big and so important for racing Australia, not just New South Wales, I'm perplexed by it wasn't presented properly.
Yeah,
like sit on it. Say to everyone, listen, this is a proposal. We're going to sit on this. We're going to get it all. Give us 6 months, and we'll come with you with all the right relevant information. But little bits were thrown out here and there, and everyone was sort of confused. And
it was weird.
So in confusion, people revert back to what they know. No, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
So they might have another crack at it. I'm not sure, but I was surprised at the 56%. No, I thought it would be much bigger.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a close race. Right. I think if they were given the right opportunity to get the right information, I think this would have been a much different result.
Yeah, it feels like, when is that bus going to come around again with that amount? Oh, okay, 5 billion, but it could be 2 billion, could be 3 billion. But even still, we're saying billion for a track where, unfortunately, I read a stat that the crowds have just gone off a cliff at Rosehill because they closed the train station. I think 25 meetings in the last calendar year or something like that for a cumulative crowd of 100,000.
Yep.
Like you've ridden on days there when it's pumping, it's 35,000 people.
Yeah.
That's gone. Those days are gone, unfortunately, for Rosehill.
That's just a trend throughout Australia, though. That's not a Rosehill trend.
Yep.
Numbers are down, other than the bigger days. People are getting so much more information at home, with our racing coverage. It's very good these days. And they can feel more comfortable at home betting on their tablets or their apps. You know what I mean? So that's because the betting is still in a very healthy place. The betting turnover is still in a healthy place after COVID. You know, there was a bit of a shift because it went through the roof.
Yep.
It had to readjust because people got on with their lives. But betting has still continued to go upwards. So those numbers are still very healthy, but the people going to the races aren't healthy at all. So do we need these massive grandstands? You know what I mean? If they're not being used for corporate functions or something else, they're just white elephants, aren't they? In the future, I don't see us building massive grandstands. They'll be just racetracks.
Yeah.
Because people will be at home.
Very good point. Very good point, Bossy. So, it'd be interesting to see where that leads. There's still a bit going on behind the scenes.
I think they missed a very big opportunity for me. That's, I don't know. And like I said, I'm just looking from the outside with the same information everyone else has got. Yeah. But I think this was probably a massive opportunity missed.
Absolutely. Through communication. Anyway, our special guest this week, I've mentioned it at the top, it's a rugby league theme.
Yep.
I've got the green on. It's one of the Green Machine's greatest ever players. Yep. Lovely bloke out of Goulburn. Jarrod Croker is our guest, mate. Jarrod, you've come to know him, and you've got a mutual, very good friend as well. So you got some stories lined up. Yeah,
he's a great guy. I've got to know Jarrod in one club. You know, he played for Canberra. He's one club, so that says enough, doesn't it? You know, I think 300 games.
Yeah.
Wow. He's a giant in the sport.
Well, let's get into it. Our special chat this week on Who's the Boss, Jarrod Croker. Jarrod Croker, thanks for joining us, mate. How are you?
Thanks for having me, boys. Going really well. Good to get down here. It's still got to get the maps out to get through Sydney. I'm a country boy at heart, but we've got here and we're all good.
Well, it's a good day to be a New South Wales fan, isn't it?
Oh, stop it.
I forgot that.
Good. Just turn that knife a little bit more.
Had a few words to Lucky Mara this morning too. He's got a nice bet coming up that he's probably going to lose in a couple of weeks' time, I'd imagine. So, good day to be a Blue, mate. There was probably wasn't the greatest spectacle of a game, I thought, but both sides are a bit scrappy, and especially in that second half. But you take a win any way you can get them in that arena.
We've had a laugh about it at the top of the show, Bossy, but what do you make of it from a Queensland perspective?
Shithouse.
Glad I asked.
Yeah. No, we I don't think we ever really looked like breaking their line, especially in the second half. We just kind of they answered every question that we asked, and with spades it looked like. So it was a pretty boring watch in the second half if you were a Queenslander.
Yeah, even as a Blues fan, mate, the second half was very scrappy. It wasn't like I said, a great spectacle. But would you make any changes, Billy?
No, not Billy. No, not Billy. Would I make changes? No. That's one thing about Queensland never really does is make. New South Wales have done that before and put the broom through them and big changes. I think Billy will back his men, and we do have the ability to come out and win a series when we've lost one. So
Very cool.
Yeah.
We'll wait and see.
Tough.
What are those games like sometimes, Joe? When you're out there and you know it's turned into something that you didn't have. Like if you had an architect in to design the game plan and then try and execute it, it's diverted away from that. But you have to somehow just find a way to get over the line.
Yeah, you do. Obviously, I've never played in that arena, but I'm assuming that you ask any bloke on that field and they wouldn't talk down the game at all because it's such a physical and it's such a good spectacle. The Origin arena. But there's been games where you're playing for Canberra and or some, whoever, and it's freezing cold and everyone just keeps dropping the ball and you're up by 20 or down by 20 and nothing's going anywhere. You just want to get out of there and get in the showers. So there's certainly games like that, but you try to tell. I'm sitting here saying that the second half was ordinary, but you try to tell me mate Hudson Young, who come on with 25-30 to go, that it was ordinary. He was probably having the time of his life, bouncing around and in front of 50,000 at Queensland. So just that's probably me being a fan more than anything, being a little bit picky. But it was and he represented the club really well, Hutto. I thought he was good in that little brief stint that he had as well. So probably been a bit harsh on it, but. And especially for someone who hasn't played there, it's easy for me to sit there and say that. But there's certainly games where it does fizzle out a little bit. Yeah,
probably says a lot about the defence though, because both sides are littered with people who can change a game on their own individually. Their game changes, so it probably says a lot about the defence of both sides that no one really made that many breaks individually and did something really brilliant. Because it was pretty bit like that, wasn't it?
It was. I was like, you look at. Munster, Kalen Ponga, they're the two guys that are the hammer. You just wait for something to explode at them, and and not that they weren't trying or anything like that. It was just could not happen.
They got closed
them.
down really quickly.
They got shut down really well, and that was probably the really strong point that I think New South Wales would take out of it was their defence. They were really strong across the board, and Queensland were quite strong too. But a couple of little lapses there. But when you've got Munster, Cherry Evans, Ponga, Harry Grant in that spine, on the back of Big Tino, they still got a really good side, and the hammer and guys like that, and we nullified that really well. So there's definitely going to be a bit going on in that second game, but it's good to knock off the first one anyway, especially up there.
Great second game. I can't wait.
Yeah, Perth is it the second game?
Perth.
Yeah, over in Perth. Mate, you had an incredible career, 307 games for the one club, and we'll dive into that. But just with a link to Origin last night, one player in particular, did you ever have to try and tackle Payne Haas? Because that could not look like an enjoyable situation, no matter how much money you would be paid to do it.
I don't think I did.
You somehow avoided it.
Yeah, I dodged that. I dodged a lot of the good. When I was playing centre, a lot of the good, like your Greg Inglis and those guys, were all on that left side as well. So I never come across them, which was good. They were always on the left side each. So that was a win. Latrell was a bit the same. I never really had to mark Latrell. He's a big man, but it wasn't Payne Haas. But there was one there. It was in, I can't remember what year. It was one of our better years, 19 or 20. Was when David Fifita first come onto the scene. I think he was at the Broncos and he was on the back. He was in the back row, and I remember our assistant coach Andrew McFadden, Cappy, we just had to go after him. You just got to go after him, and we were just coming from everywhere. Myself and I had Jack White, and he was one of the best defensive halves probably that's been in the game. And I just remember the review. We won. We come out and won, and we handled him quite well. Like he's a big, strong man. And there was a comment there. He said, "You just look like a pack of hyenas." After a big wolf, and he was just like Shrek holding on to it all. He was like the Hulk. We're all on his back trying to hang on to him, and he was probably the closest one to Payne that I probably had to come across like that. But Dave Taylor was another one a long time ago when he was in his prime. Was another big man who could move really well and had all the skill in the world as well. So there's a couple there, but I was pretty good at dodging them too.
Like they're big guys, but they unbelievable on their feet, aren't
Yeah.
they? Like they don't. I mean, when you stand beside them, you realise how big they are.
Yeah.
But the effortless way they glide across the paddock, Payne Haas, it's just amazing to see such a big man move the way he does. It's incredible.
And his engine too. Like
Yeah,
he doesn't come on in brief stints.
No, he plays the whole game.
He plays just about the whole game if you need him to.
Yeah.
So Joey Tarpon is another one who, for a big man, he actually moves really well across the field and has late footwork. And another one that he's hard enough to tackle with his size and power as it is. But when you have got that footwork and a little bit of agility, it's just another ball game.
Unbelievable. Isn't it?
It makes it, but as just a sports fan, like the vast majority of us are, including myself, you sit there watching it, you go, if there's a missed tackle on a big guy, it's like, oh, they should have brought him down.
Yeah.
It's a bit like watching a horse race with you guys, Bossy. It's like, oh, why didn't he take that run?
Yeah.
And you totally forget you're on a 600-kilo horse going at 60 k's an hour, and there's a gap that big. And like we're sitting there going, hey, why didn't he do that?
And you
Oh, he
totally
should be
forget-
doing better.
You totally forget when you're having a beer and pie in one hand, go, oh, why did he miss that tackle? Like,
Yeah,
come on, mate.
I started to get the same too. I sit up in the coach's box with the six band on the sideline a little bit, but at home games I get up in the box and we're in the coach's box. It's like being up on a computer. You just sit there and go, he needs to fucking push. You need to do this, And I'm like, it's not actually that easy, mate. You got to sit back and remember that. Like you sit up there and you see absolutely everything.
Yes.
And it's not that easy. You got to rein yourself in a little bit.
Oh,
and remember
100%.
that. But, it's a lot easier watching up there. Put it that way.
307 games. That's no easy feat, eh?
Yeah.
How's the body?
I was going to say the back felt it on the way down. I got up, been trying to get back into a little bit of shape and tick it over a little bit, and got up with me mate this morning and done some training at the gym at home, and then I'm like, I got to drive to Sydney, then to Newcastle today. My back's going to be killing me, so body's all right. It's probably just the knees and the back or anything. I've had the shoulder reconstructions.
Yep.
They just limit what I can do really. As opposed, they doesn't actually hurt, but probably the lower back and the old knees are feeling it. But
It's incredible what you have to pay for.
Yeah,
You know?
Worth it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'd still be playing if my body would. Like I would. If you'd asked me when I was 29, 30 coming into it, never had an injury, touch wood. Like I was very lucky, really, most of my career, and I would have played till I was 37 if I could, and that's what I was planning on doing. But then it's all of a sudden it starts going downhill, and the body starts catching up on you a bit. And like I said, I loved footy, but when it come to the injuries, there was a couple of injuries that just snowballed and kept getting worse and worse. And when your knees pretty much, I need a knee replacement, so you can't really do that when you're 32 years old playing in the NRL. So that's sort of where that was at, and it just sort of got too much for me in the end. But I still love the game, and it becomes. We'll probably dive into it a little bit more, but the game actually becomes more about when I first started. It makes me feel old, but like we'd just go for a jog around the oval for a captain's run and play offside touch, and that was it. But you're in there now. Like you get in there at 8 o'clock. You do your screening, your prep. You got an hour and a half of video, an hour of preparation, stretching, strapping. Then you've got an active preparation. Then you've got to warm up into high speed run, into a field session. Like it's like we just used to rock up and train and do weights after it and then leave when we first started. Like it's just so much more now that it gets you mentally as well. Like I got asked the other day what I miss the least. What do you miss the least? And I said wrestle for starters. And probably video and warm ups. Warm ups just by the end of it, it's like, I've got to warm up again. Yeah. Just become a lot. So the actual footy side of things wasn't that bad.
with your obviously great brain for playing, does that give you the incentive to maybe coach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoy the coaching. I do a bit still at the club now. I'm still there just helping the outside backs and with a bit of backfield stuff and kick reception and then obviously goal kicking stuff with Jamal and a couple of the younger kids as well, which is goal kicking for me is maybe like you sit on a horse, you just love it, know everything about it, or know everything about it, but you know enough to, I can teach kids how to goal kick and I can see, I do a bit of stuff with younger kids and straight away within 5 kicks, I can see an improvement of a kicker just by a couple of little simple things that kids you don't learn as a kid. So I enjoy that side of things. The coaching side, I grew up, a lot of kids did playing halfback and 5'8". Dad was a coach. He played halfback just so he could hog the ball. But I but I learned how to kick and pass and catch and have all that sort of skill. And that's how I had to, because I wasn't big and strong and lightning quick. So I had to have skill as well as a centre. And I feel like the game, it's gotten a bit better now. But when it went through that period of when it was 6 again, started coming along, it was just athletes, and there was kids there that were just 19 years old, 101 kilos, and lightning fast, but they couldn't catch a pass. So I feel like the development of our outside backs is probably as a whole, has probably taken a bit of a hit over that period. So I'm really big on getting that back and having the catch pass and being able to put your winger away, be able to roll the ball in for a 6 again or something like that. So I enjoy that side of coaching, and I've been doing a little bit of that at the club as well, which is good. But then people don't realise that the broad side of coaching is like you're behind a computer and you've got 36 kids to deal with 24/7. Then staff, then when you're someone like Sticky, the media, like he's
he
pretty
loves
high
the
up in the
media.
media. He loves it. He's got
loves it.
him worked out as well. But he, it's a fair job. You've got to cut a lot of video, which when I started, we never cut video. We would just go and train, and we didn't wear a GPS. You didn't get told what high speed meters you had to run and stuff like that. So it sort of changed a lot. And I was a little bit old school in that regard. So I do love the coaching side of it. But to be a full-time coach, you've really got to apply yourself, and you got to be a bit mad.
They age quick,
yeah,
don't
you
they?
got to be a bit mad. So.
How is Sticky? Sorry.
Yeah,
how
I
is
was going
Sticky?
to ask the
love-
exact same thing.
I love him. He's never changed all the years I've known him.
Yeah.
I met him with Frank Cleary, who's obviously very entrenched with you boys, and immediately just struck up a friendship with him. He's just a wonderful person to be around.
I told him I was coming down here. I went and seen him yesterday. I said I'm coming down to catch up with Bossy and that. He loves it. He hasn't changed a bit. Stick. He's going really well. He's obviously, we're sitting second and having a really good season, which helps. But you're right, he hasn't changed. Like if we were sitting last, he'd still be the same. So he's going really well. He's got the boys humming, and he's really good at. He doesn't actually do. I mean, he's a coach, but he doesn't actually. He delegates really well. Like we've got a couple of assistants here, a couple there. They do all the video. Like they don't want to. He knows. He goes. They don't need to sit up here and listen to me talk all day, every day. Like and that's what he's really good at. He controls the boys. He gets the boys up for a game. He still gets me excited when it's come time to warm up or a team meeting or something like that. He still knows
see the
what to
passion
say.
in him.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what it is.
He's got a lot of passion for
You
the
see
game.
him on the sideline.
Any given Sunday type speech before? Is he that kind of guy, or is he keep it pretty relatable to you guys to just concentrate on what you need to accomplish?
Yeah, there's a little bit of any given Sunday, not too much. He's very. There's a lot of words that he uses are very, very blunt and direct, but he's it's a little bit old school, which is what I liked about it, I think. And
any halftime rip into when was
it?
Has he done some real?
There was a game the other week where we were getting. Oh, it must have been the Dolphins. We were down 28-6 or something against the Dolphins at home. We come back and put 40 on them in the second half, but that was a good one at halftime.
Was it?
Yeah, that was a real good one. And even was another game. Well, the Bulldogs who were up that game. There's another one. There's been a couple of good ones at halftime.
This year Canberra have made a name for themselves to get themselves exactly where they want the opposition. And that's the opposition being 20 points in front, and then they come
steamroll them
3 or 4 weeks in a
row. But is it direct? Or you would have seen a few of them. You played under him for the majority of your career. Is it direct at you personally, or is it a collective, or is he?
It's usually collective. Someone has to do a fair bit wrong to get one at half time because they've got to go back out. And sometimes these days, I think he's definitely eased up on what he used to be. So you can't say what you used to say to people at half time these days. I don't think so. A lot of the younger guys, and we've got a young squad too, so you can't. It's hard at half time to absolutely crucify someone and expect them to go out there and perform. Like sometimes you will or you do, but you've got to be careful what you say to the younger generation these days, because they can go out and look at the crowd and not be interested. So he does it really well, but it's normally as a collective. It's normally team related and entitlements and these sorts of things get thrown around. So he pulls everyone's there pretty well, but he's a really good motivator and he gets a feel for it. That's why he stays on the sideline, because he gets a feel for it. Like you get up in the box, you can see everything. It's perfect. But he likes the atmosphere. You can, we might see in the box that someone's tired or, missed a kick chase or a kick pressure or something like that. But Stick's down there hearing them talk and watching their line speed and their energy and enthusiasm and what the little things they're doing for the team. And he gets the energy off that and gets a bit of a gauge off that as well, I guess.
It's interesting about the sprays there, Bossy, because you got to be really careful, as Jarrod says, at half time. But like I think of your game, and you're playing on a big race day, for instance, you're playing 8 different, essentially grand finals, 40 minutes apart.
Yeah.
So if you cop if you don't quite steer one as well as the owner or the trainer might have helped, you get back to the mounting yard, they're not going to worry about what's you've got coming up for the rest of the day. They'll tell you what they think, do they?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But so you got to have that fishbowl mentality.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can just go, I've got another problem there.
That's right. Yeah, you cop it on the chin and get on with it, you know, and next one's, by the time you get back to the room and you wait out for the next race, that's basically out of your mind, you know.
Yeah.
So just carry on.
Yeah, he's given a couple of good ones. He gave me one about a horse. It was very early on, and he was half taking the piss with it, but he said, it must have been really deep on a shape. It was one of his first or second years here, and he's talked about all this shape, and he goes, and fucking Toots, you're out there. He goes, you're out here worried about the next race in Goulburn.
Yeah.
Trying to fucking push up, and you're pushing up here or something. It wasn't. It was half cheeky, but he knew that straight away. We got along pretty well after that as well. So he's given some good ones. I haven't really copped many personal ones. The worst ones, the sort of copper, the blunt ones. Towards the back end of the year, you're like, oh, geez, I know I'm probably done here, and he's been a bit more blunt with me. So, but we've got a great relationship. Yeah.
What about the punt though? You love a bet.
I don't mind it. Yeah.
You love a bet, and we got one very, very close friendship between the both of Tommy Berry.
Yes.
Like I call him like my brother. You know, we're very close, like as you are. You've been best of mates, I'd say, for a long time. Eh? He's a ripping man.
Yes, he is. We're great mates.
Yeah.
We've formed a friendship there that's sort of early on. We just how good this is, mates. But now it's like it's nothing to do with footy or racing at all. It's just ringing up. How's the kids? What's the family doing?
Yes.
When can we catch up? When can you come to Canberra? What are you doing? How's everything else sorted? So we've become really good mates, Tommy, and well, you know what he's like. He's just a good person. He just cares for everyone else. He cares for the kids. He wants to see what the kids are doing. And he rang me last week a week or two ago, a young fella played one of his second games of footy or something, and he rang, I just wanted to ring up. I thought he had a tip for me. He goes, I just wanted to congratulate Rory and get the man of the match in a game of footy or something like that. So that's the sort of bloke he is. Yeah.
I spoke to him this morning. He said, mention Rory because he's got a little footy career in front of him.
He loves it, the big fella. He's got two boys. One loves footy and every single sport. He's got Tommy, pretends to be Tommy, pretends to be J-Mac, and Tommy's not happy about it. And the youngest one, just wants to play with Lightning McQueen and go see Pop's cows. Doesn't think it's sport about him. So chalk and cheese.
Yeah, do you cheers Tommy when he has a big day as well? Feel a bit part of it? Yeah. 'Cause he's had some big days in the last 10 years, especially at Red Week.
Yeah, he has. I've got a little bit of, I've got that whip of yours too. I've got a few nice bits of memorabilia. I've got a nice man cave downstairs.
Yeah, he said
a bit of Tommy stuff, and I've actually got a whip. It's in my car, but the wife's taking the car to the mall. But Paddy Murphy gave me a Glen Boss whip from Singapore or somewhere. It's like 1980s or 90. I'll try and find it when she comes back.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but I do enjoy. When Tommy wins, you feel like you're winning. He loves the Raiders. He likes when the Raiders win, and.
But you're also there for when he's had shit times too. You know, like. Yeah. He's had, in the last 10 years, he's had some pretty bad times. So it's always good to have his back there as well. You know, even recently when he had that bad injury, you took him down to Canberra.
Yeah, he come down and seen the physio and
he said
all that sort of stuff, mate. Yeah, he's he did the same for me. That's what you do. That's what your mates are. And Tommy's he's the first one to ring every week, ask how you're going, how's the family, how's everything, and because you do the same for him. Like his suspension there, he's out for 12 months and working and doing all those things, and then he comes back and bit of a rough trot coming back, and then the fall, the injury, and got him down to the physios and the doc, and he was blown away by how much it helped him for starters and get him back on track, and they've done a pretty good job with him down there too, and got him back and rolling, so he was pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
Were you on board Chautauqua when those things were happening as well?
Yeah. I still
favourite horse?
Yeah, it'd be definitely one of the favourites. Yeah. How could you not love him?
Oh,
yeah, such
amazing.
a good horse.
Freak.
I still remember when the one I remember like talking to Tommy about was when it was in Sha-Tin, Hong Kong. Yeah,
in Sha-Tin.
The Thunder Down Under. It still gives me tingles, that one as well. When he won,
he's not even in the picture until the 150 from home.
It was incredible. Incredible. He just loved to pass horses. That horse,
and quickly.
Tommy said he was too smart for his own good. Such an intelligent horse. That's why he didn't want to jump.
He knew what he was doing, didn't he?
He knew what he was doing because Tommy said to me, they took him to a farm where the Hawks had him and jumped him out of the barriers up this hill. No training under his belt. Tommy said he would have won any race in the world the way he went up this hill. Yeah. He said he was an unbelievable athlete, but he said he's just way too clever.
He said he'd had enough.
Yeah,
had enough. So I'll stop jumping because I've had enough.
Yeah, because that happened at Moonee Valley a couple of times, didn't it?
And that's where it started.
That's where it started because he's sitting there like that.
Yeah.
You had the head
on.
So
he's literally gone, it's a Friday night in Melbourne. I want to go out with my mates. this. Why am I here? I can't be bothered running.
I think it might have been the Manicato, maybe.
Could have been, yeah.
Yeah, Tom nearly beat him out.
Yeah.
He would like...
It's actually it's bad, but it's a funny look.
It is a funny look.
Video, it's like a head on, everyone's gone, and Tommy's kicking him just in the barriers trying to get him out. That's going well,
Have
mate.
you ever had that? Did you ever experience something like that ever?
Not on a good horse. I think I've had one refuse to jump, but yeah, it's rare, right? But never a good horse.
One that's done what it had done.
No.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden he's went, the tools, drop the tools, I'm not doing it.
Enough. Yeah.
So was that what it was like for you in your last season? You're in the dressing rooms and you just couldn't stand up from your spot in the dressing room. You just try and push yourself out there to keep going.
Yeah, don't worry. There was blokes
falling
cutting
apart.
me strap and tape off and getting me boots off for me, and it was a bit of that. Yeah, I mean,
you were done.
Yeah, looking back on it, I was. Yeah, at the time, I just kept wanting to play and because you're a long time retired, obviously, and it was always going to be hard for me to pull up. But there was, and I think deep down in my mind and my heart, I knew like there was a couple of periods there, and I sort of remember them now. I had to front load. I was playing reserve grade, which I'd never sort of had to do, and then I had to get back into that to get to the 300 games and front loaded so much energy. And I just remember every single game, like I was absolutely rooted. Like I was just buggered. Like where some games you get through and you're like, oh, I'm not too bad. I pull up sweet, but like I was just fucking wrecked.
Was it the 300th game that you only went on late?
Nah, that was my last game.
Your last game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, the last game you only went on.
So I got the 300. We sort of got to that, which was like the weeks before it. We'd won a few in a row and everyone was bubbly and, I was playing okay sort of thing. I wasn't setting the world alight or anything, but I was in the side and we were winning. And so it sort of mirrors over a few things. You get to 300 and then it sort of got to, a couple of games after. I remember one against the Dragons at Wynn Stadium. We were up 20-0 or something at half-time. And we won, but I was in the sheds after the game. I remember Zach Lomax come out at halftime and in the second half and just gave, there's a few of us, but just gave us a bath. Just like I was just got fended off once and got burnt once and I was like that. And I was like, remember we said we won like 36-30 or something stupid like that. And I was sitting there just like, geez, that was a tough way to win. I'm not even enjoying this win anymore.
Wow. Yeah.
And then we went to New Zealand. I don't know how long after it was. And there was a game over there and they just terrorised us for years. I've just got nightmares of Sean Johnson kicking field goals against us. Yeah. Years, and sure enough, it happened again. We were down again. There was a ball off I dropped a ball early, like which it was pretty good answer. I never really dropped many balls anyway. That happens, and then there was a scrum play where I was meant to run, and I remember Jacko's like, "What are you doing, mate?" And I was like, "I don't even know. I didn't know. Like I just completely missed my role, which I didn't really do either.
Wow.
Like, it was just." Yeah. And anyway, we were down.
You just weren't in the game.
Yeah, I was like, "Fuck, I didn't know what I meant to do there." And anyway, sorry, mate. And then there was 5 minutes to go and we were down by 10 or 12 or something, whatever it was. And we scored 2 real late tries to get back to 20 all or 22 all or whatever it was. And I had a kick from the far left-hand sideline to win the game after the siren. And I hit it sweet, but it just missed it. And I was like, it just literally broke me. I was like, that could have been my moment to stand up again.
Yeah.
And I was just sturdy on myself for that. And then sure enough, Johnson kicks a field goal in fucking Golden Point and they beat us. I just remember sitting in the sheds after. I was just sitting in the shower, just with my kid on still, just going, I don't know how much more. And then I don't know how many more games I would have played. There was probably 2 or 3 after that when, actually the second last game, I'd come out, we played the Bulldogs, and the Bulldogs weren't as strong back then. And scored a try and kick 6 from 6. I thought, how good's this? I'm actually I'm back. And then 2 days later, Stick comes in and he goes, mate, I'm going to bench you this week. I was like, all right, too easy. No worries, mate. He goes, it was mine because we couldn't get a home semi-final. We had to win to make the finals or something like that. He goes, I'm going to play off the bench. I think we need to move Frawls to 5'8", Jacko to half. And it was mine and Jacko's last home game. We'd been in the club for 15 years, so we were a bit wasn't ideal circumstances. And then, sat on the bench for 78 minutes and comes over, he goes, do you want to go on? I was like, oh, I don't care. And then might as well. So I went on and Reece Walsh tried to kill me off the scrum.
That's right, yeah.
And then Taps came across and belted. That's where Joey belted him off.
Yeah, that's right.
It. So, and that was the last game I played. That was it.
That was it.
That was it. And I didn't tell, I felt, I didn't want to tell anyone because it was meant to be a secret, obviously, that I wasn't starting and Jack was playing centre. So Dad didn't, I was so embarrassed, but I couldn't do anything about it. I didn't tell anyone except my wife. They were all lined up for me and Jacko to come out for our last home game, and I come out and then just had a hard turn left, and Dad's like,
"Oh my god!"
With the dressing gown on.
Yeah, Dad and Mum and Dad and all the family that are there going, "Where's he going?" And Brittany's like, "Yeah, he's on the bench." Like, "Oh, righto." And anyway, that's the way it finished. But it could have finished 2 or 3 years way before that, and I couldn't have got to 300. So you take the good with the bad.
That didn't by no means define your career though. It was one hell of a career though.
Yeah, sort of. you move on and
Yeah.
let it go, mate.
Yeah.
Like I said, I could have thrown it in a few years before and had a few injuries and taps on the shoulder and this and that, and had a tough couple of years. Again, when I say tough, just tough footy wise.
Yeah.
Always look back on it with that period from sort of it was pretty much COVID when I started getting injuries. Like we sort of started getting a bit busted and that, but in that period I had 2 kids.
Yeah.
And I was, there was things were good at home and stuff like that. So it was always, I could always find a positive.
Yeah.
It was no surprise that kind of, you couldn't hold it together totally after playing 307 NRL games. And before that, you play your under-20s, your rep stuff. But before that, as a 16-year-old, you're playing against men in the bush, playing for Goulburn.
Yeah.
Now, I can't imagine that that's a tickling competition.
Group 6, no.
Group 6 footy,
Yeah.
it's
Picton,
on. These guys who have,
Picton.
tradies and farmers and stuff like that who want to get out a bit of frustration out of their system on a weekend. How was that for
Tough.
a young fella?
Yeah, it was tough. It probably helped me, to be honest, playing against those older blokes. I grew up loving playing footy, and I was never like strong or ripped or lightning quick. Like I was quick enough, but I just loved playing footy. And some of those, there was a couple of days through that year. I think it was 2007, where I'd play 18s. I was 16, so I was 16 years old. I'd play 18s, reserve grade, then first grade.
Wow.
It was only a handful that I'd done all 3. Just loving it.
What was it like being in the shed with the men though? Like,
mate, so there's a bloke there, and they call him the professor. I don't know why, but he's the pro. But he's 50 this year. I think he won a comp with Sammy Williams 2 years ago, playing for the Roos still. And Dad, I remember when I was this big, Dad coached him in goal. His name's Mick Dodson. Dad coached him in when he coached in goal when I was this big. And then he was retiring then. Then I won a comp with him in 2007. And he was retiring then, and then he won a comp in 2023 with Sammy and Drew. So I grew up with those sort of guys, and I knew them all forever. And one of them was my older cousin, a couple of older mates, a couple of the Queen Band boys, mates with the Clearys and the Widows, Jeremy Braun and guys like that. Mick Mantelli was the coach. They're all Queen Band blokes. They moved to Goulburn that year, or a couple of years before it, because Goulburn needed a bit of a pick me up. So they all went to Goulburn and played, and then we won this competition with all them, and we've. We still got great mateships with all them. But it was tough playing. Pretty rough sort of setup. Picton, Thelmy, Camden, all those sort of rough areas against grown men. I was a kid who it was 16, 17. He was going to get on the piss after it. Like I was having a beer after it. So they still got the stories about all that. They all thought a couple of local pubs thought he turned because of my birthday. I worked out. I was talking to Dad about it before, but. But birthday was like 3 or 4 days after, because I'm September 11 birthday. Yeah. It was always that couple. The grand finals were always around that sort of period. And anyway, they were on the piss for a couple of days after it. 16 years old, drinking green ginger on the bus, and they go, "I just let him gauge, right? It's his birthday on Wednesday." He's right. It's birthday on Wednesday, and got to Wednesday, like, "Can I be right? Show us your ID. It's your happy birthday, mate." And I turned 17. They thought I was turning 18. I was only 16 in the pub for 3 days, and they got to know me pretty quickly around there anyway. But look, that was awesome, and that was. It makes you tough. Certainly does. Yeah, there's no hiding out there. And back then, there's no HIAs or stuff like that. You're getting coding, and you're old enough, you're good enough. If you're good enough, you're old enough. So sort of had to learn the hard way, and it helped.
Tell us about some of obviously playing for Canberra. It's either a plane or bus ride. I'm not sure, but you've had a few bus rides where you've had the whole crew get involved, because you might have had a few multis going and a few quaddies and this, that, and the other. Have you got everyone's got a sick beat story?
Oh, mate.
Surely
weekly,
you've got one.
Weekly stories. The one that comes to mind is a Newcastle trip, and it sort of translates a bit with that back end of my career where, I'd never played reserve grade, a game below reserve grade in my life until 2022, I think it was. So I had to. That was a tough one. But then I just same thing, took it on board. I said, "Oh, this is good." Instead of getting put up in a hotel for 3 days before a game, I'm going up, getting picked. Dad's dropped me to the Big Merino to get a coffee and a bacon egg roll. And the bus is picking me up on the way to North Sydney Oval or Wentworthville or something on the way through. And I was like, just enjoy it. There's no other way to look at it. So there was had a game in Newcastle, and Justin Giddo was the coach then. He's our assistant coach now. He's obviously a well-known name around the joint as well, around Canberra. But we're on the way up, and we had Lincoln with us, and we had a young team. Like some of them games going into reserve grade, I sort of, a lot of the young kids, you don't even know half their names. Some of them come up from under 19s and that, and here I am, 32-year-old, sitting on the bus on the way up, Sad Arvo, so I've got the races going, and I remember I put a multi on, and one of the legs is actually Paddy Carberry, massive
Oh,
Raiders
yeah,
fan
yeah,
over there.
yeah.
Great fella. He tipped me a horse, and I had this big multi on. I had one of my horses race, and I can't remember. It wasn't Young. It was one of the country cups or something out at Young or Junee or something
Harness.
like that.
Yep.
Yeah, Harness, a trotter. One of my, we have shares in the horse. Anna Love it was called, and had this big multi going. The boys were all on. Gitz was on. Lincoln Withers was on the bus with us. He used to play for the Raiders. He ran the blue shirt for a while, and got to it wasn't until later at night, so we got up to the hotel and that. There all the coaches are having a beer or whatever, and Lincoln missed the race. He's like, Death Rider, get beat, you mongrel, get beat.
He didn't have a bet.
Yeah, he didn't have a bet. He missed it. So anyway, I can't remember. We've ripped around, hit the front, just home. We were short as $2, $1.80, whatever it was. It was for $40,000. And Link's Death Rider me. And this horse, I remember the name, Joe Tomo it was called, come flying past us at $41 and beat us by a nose.
Oh, that's got to hurt.
I couldn't have said any more to Lincoln than
Yeah.
stare at him.
Yeah,
That was a gut buster. And when you own the horse as well, it just really kicked me in the gut
Oh,
while
for
I was
sure.
down. But on the flip side of that, we had to look at it. Gitz will tell the story as well because it correlates with their playing footy back in the bush. They used to make me drink green ginger on the way home when we were young. So another thing to harden you up. But we played the nights that
What is
day.
that?
What is that?
Haven't you had green ginger?
No,
Stone's green ginger.
no.
It's about, you get a litre bottle for about $8. It's like a ginger beer winey ginger beer taste.
Alcohol.
Alcohol, yeah. it's
Oh,
alcohol,
wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
For $8.
Something like that. It's cheap as.
I've never known a big bottle of
You
alcohol
get like a 1.5 litre one.
for
Wow.
$8
Yeah.
not give you some kind of atomic hangover.
Yeah, and heartburn now that I'm old, I've worked out heartburn pretty quickly.
Oh.
I still drink it.
Yeah, it's nice.
We should get some for the cup
Not
next
often, not often, but if we have a bus ride or something, I get a bottle of green ginger, sort of stuff like that. But the next day we played the Knights and similarly, we had a bunch of young kids and we were down by 2 or 3 tries with 10 to go, and we just gave them this big Herculean speech. Didn't know what I was on about. The boys were like, "No, that's the best thing ever." And we come out and the boys scored 3 tries and we won.
Yeah.
NRL got this charter flight home. We're on the bus home. I've got the green gingers. Gitz has got the bottle of vodka. We stop in at Goulburn. We've got shots lined up at the bar at Goulburn. Everyone spews in the bus. No one remembers getting to Canberra, so it's sort of...
That's a good footy.
It's a good footy trip. Yeah,
That's a great footy
and I'm like,
trip.
I love reserve grade. I said
Yeah.
to stick at the end of my career. I said, mate, I'll just play Reggie's for another year if you want to let's go on the bus trip. So, you got to make the most of it, and we certainly did that. But that was a sick beat.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I've had a few of them, but that was one that springs to mind.
What about your love for the Trotters, though? Where'd that come from?
Through Brad Hewitt and
Yep.
Josh
Great
Stapleton.
man, Brad.
Yeah, Huey. He's just on his way back from Sweden. He was over racing in the elite lop over there
Yep.
with the locomotive. But him and Josh, they're best mates growing up, and I'm
Yep.
mates with them, really good mates with them, and just the whole mates in this buy one. Chuck in, and all of a sudden they've just chucked in, and they just do a great job, Huey. They just
Yep.
kept winning and winning. We'd buy one, and I thought it was the best thing ever. We'd buy one and race around Canberra. I think the first one was I'm JT, it was called, and it won like 5 in a row at Canberra. I'm like, I've got the best horse ever.
Yeah, yeah.
And just thinking it was that easy.
Yeah.
And it's just snowballed, and we've got syndicates now with there's 10 of us with the triple play syndicate, and my dad, father-in-law, Josh's father-in-law, Huey, Sammy Williams,
Yep.
those sorts of guys that we've just rolled over. And we've got a really good one in Captain's Knock, who's won a couple of Group 1s for us. And, just a good bunch of owners, and the best part about Huey is he doesn't muck around with slow ones. So
Yeah.
if he's got a slow horse, he'll get rid of it. He just doesn't muck around with them, and it's been good for
Yeah,
us.
good.
Yeah,
Mate, you got to name one green ginger.
You have to.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I can arrange
Bring
that.
back some
Yeah, some
lovely
green ginger.
memories for
Yeah.
you. Have you ever had a green rat, by the way?
Green rat.
It's basically the colour of the shirt. I wore the shirt for you today, by the
Beautiful.
way.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
want to rub it in
Thanks,
with Bossy and wear a blue one. But green rat is Midorian milk.
Yeah,
Oh.
nice. Is that what they're called? Green rat. We used to
Green
call
rat.
them grasshoppers.
Okay, grasshopper.
Yeah.
Green rat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're nice.
Yeah.
I don't mind
A
that.
couple of
This is
those on the
something
bus
else
back
I've never
to
heard of.
Goulburn.
I've been living
Yeah.
under a rock or something.
Upstairs are flamingos, our grasshoppers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, still got the farm.
Yeah, mum and dad.
Yeah, yeah.
Still out of town.
Still working the farm, eh?
Still out at just off the Cook Road there.
Yep.
So yeah, kids love it out there. It's
Cattle.
bit of cattle, got the calves, and they get fed loaves of bread every time the kids go home. It's it's a beautiful spot. It's nice to be. I like being in Canberra where I am, but then to go back to mum and dad's, 10 minutes from the main street of Goulburn, but you're out on 40, 50 acres.
Yeah.
Beautiful house, just quiet, peaceful.
Yeah, good.
It's a good blend.
It's a great way to bring up kids.
It is.
Or,
Good,
let them have that environment.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, mate, you're going to stick around for our next little segment. Usually it's just Bossy by himself, but given that you've come close on occasions, and I'm sure we've left out some stories of some great wins as well, you're going to join us for our little tipping segment. Is that right?
Sounds good.
Because I can't tip a winner.
You'll find one. You'll find one this weekend. Here we go. Bossy's best. Bossy's best time now. The Kingsford Smith Cup at Eagle Farm, the Group 1. Bossy, big lead up to the Stradbroke. Good field. Which way are you going?
Yeah, it's a great field, actually, and this will be set the tone for the Stradbroke. So the winner of this race, or one that runs well, will be the one that comes out and nearly wins the Stradbroke. So I'm going for the fresh mare, Chris Waller, and J-Mac again. That caravan just keeps on rolling. Jolly Star, she's the best horse in the race, simple as that, and she goes really well fresh. So she's suited by the distance, she'll be suited by the track. Drawn a little bit awkward, but you got J-Mac, right?
He's rent-free. He'll end up in the 1-1.
He's the greatest jockey
He anyway.
I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I've seen some greats. But he just continues. He did it again on Sunday. Shah Tin goes and wins over there again.
Yeah.
Giga Kick, he ran really well first up. And I know the animal. He's a very big unit. He would have needed that run. He went down to Morpheville, ran. He would have tied it up big time after that run. So Giga Kick, 1,300 second up. He's a horse that can run well. And I'm going to throw a real surprise one in there. A horse that has been out of form, but I know he's a really private eye. He's a really good horse. And he wouldn't be taking him up there for a picnic, Joe Pride. So there's got to be something in that. Joe Pride, he's a very meticulous trainer. He wouldn't be taking this horse up there, and he goes unbelievable fresh. I've got a feeling that he's going to run a huge race.
Jarrod Croker, have you got anything to add to that or disagree with?
No,
Glen
I
Boss?
wouldn't disagree with the great man ever, not at all.
No, you wouldn't.
I mean, big fan. I think Jolly Star, just with the jock on board with J-Mac, he just gets that 1-1 or that sweet seat every single time, doesn't he? So I do have one in
Caulfield?
Caulfield. Plucked
one from there.
Plucked
Okay.
one in Caulfield, yep. Race 3, number 1, Big Swinger.
Big swinger.
Big Swinger. I'll start that off and then use their money to back Bossies, I reckon.
Yeah, that's
Is that
it.
literally something you just picked up on a WhatsApp group chat and you've just added it to here?
I've got a few of them, mate.
Nice.
The punters WhatsApp group.
Oh, yeah. It's the best thing of all on a Saturday
100%.
afternoon.
Yeah.
Just abuse hurling around, especially with punters clubs. So how many punters clubs are you in, by the way?
Oh, too many.
Too
many.
Too many.
Normally go to the Derby, actually. We're going back to the Derby this year. We haven't
Yep.
went to the Victorian Derby for about 10 years, and then when it stopped with COVID, we sort of been going back. So we're going to go back this
It's
year.
a great day, isn't
Best
it?
day. Best
Well, it lends beautifully into
Does.
this. It's a fantastic segue you come up with there. IPE events, ipevents.com.au. Check these guys out for your corporate experiences at the big events. They go down to Derby Day.
Yeah,
and
the 4 days.
Yep.
4 days of
the
Flemington. It's
races.
unbelievable.
They're having Origin 2 and 3.
Yes.
We're looking forward to those, aren't we?
We are. Well,
After one, we're looking forward to
it's
doing
called a
it.
series because it is a series.
Yes, just relax, Adam.
Yes.
Don't get to the clock down and think you've won the
No.
race. Okay.
Settle.
Some great experience. IPE events. IPE events is the place to go for that. And just back to Eagle Farm, I've got to mention the fact that Democracy Manifest is running in
Yes.
Brisbane. This is Democracy Manifest. It's ridiculous odds.
Yes.
It's nearly 50 to 1. But I'm just going to have a little each way just for the hell of it.
Just for the sake of it.
Just for the sake of it.
Darren up there to
just-
call it.
Watch another rerun of that.
Yeah.
You can never get sick of watching
No,
that.
you can't. You can't. Mate, thanks for dropping in. I know
thanks for having
you're on
me.
your way up to Newcastle as we sit here
Yep.
now. We've got the Women's Origin Game 3. Still love your footy as much as you did when you were
love
running against those grown men.
Go men at Picton, yeah.
Goulburn.
Tough me up. But yeah, look, I love it, mate. Still enjoying it. And thanks for having me. I
Yeah.
love doing this. Love
Thanks,
me
brother.
footy. Love
Really
me racing.
appreciate it.
So
Thanks,
appreciate
Jarrod.
being on here.
Appreciate
Good
it,
stuff.
mate.
Thanks, mate. That was Who's the Boss for this week. If you like our content, hit the like button somewhere down here.
And if you want to subscribe, right here.